I'm gonna go now to forward chess application, and I'll choose one of the games. So I downloaded the application in my tablet and I took it with me when I was traveling. And the book I want to talk today about, and I'm analyzing, I have all these books. I selected these books, and what I started to watch earlier, we see this chess test. We liked it very much, Dvoretsky, but it's really tough one. This is easy. I think this is something that everyone can just read. So here we have the topics. The Attack of Uncastled King. I like these games very much. Attack on the king that has lost the right to castle. And what I like here, it gives you, like, it describes what you should do when your opponent has not castled king. So those are like several things, points. That are written down, and like for instance what you should do when there is not castled king and the king has lost the castle. You have to start to give checks and chase the king across the board with checks. So this kind of things is good to have in mind. Mating patterns are really easy, but you know, you can check it out what kind of mating ideas there are. For instance, this one we just solve the puzzle now. When you give one rook and then give another rook, and then you clean up everything on the first rank, and you bring the queen, and with the help of the pawn you're checkmating. We saw that. This one is something that everybody knows, modern mate. You give it check first, get the knight here on h6, and then you sacrifice the queen. What is this? You do this. There are like many ways to checkmate. One is this way to checkmate with the knight, and another is this way to checkmate with the queen. And if pawn f6, you just take and it will repeat. Oh, this is interesting. You take, check, and checkmate. So all kind of patterns are here. Anastasia mate. So this is Anastasia mate. Very often we are having this in puzzles. And this is Arabic mate. So this one and this one. Or Arabic mate. I think Arabic mate is different. Blind swine. Yeah. I don't know why this name, guys. Why this name? I have heard of this one. Rook to g7. Check. No idea. You just repeat the moves, I think, and yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Oh, this one is nice. Bottom mate. So you sacrifice the. This one was in the game of Duda played once against Hikaru, I guess. But Hikaru did not. Was it Hikaru? Did not take here back, and he could somehow defense, and then he sacrificed twice the queen, and then it was game over. So this one is really cool. I have never seen in practice, but I have seen only one game when Duda played. Okay, this is the one we were talking the other day. This is the one we were talking the other day. King goes here, and yeah. So it started with queen sacrifice. Bishop was on g4. Here, yeah. Knight takes, bishop takes queen. Here, and checkmate. What is this? King goes here. this knight here. H5. Queen G5. Rook F5 and H5 here. Nice. So why Queen G5? Why not H5 right away? Because probably then you play G5 and you are just... You're not even threatening checkmate, so white has here some time to play Queen F3. So you do first... I have never seen this. I have never seen... I have seen all the possible mating patterns, but not this one. And now H5. This one is cool. Wow, this one is cool. Oh, I'm covering the board. You guys are so cute. No one said that I was covering the board. Okay, this one we all know. So yeah, this one, this topic is easy. The one I wanted to talk today was the classical bishop sacrifice. Carrot, if he's in the chat, I showed him this classical bishop sacrifice once, and he has won like tons of games. Greek gives are the best. He was like winning every day. So this is a classical bishop sacrifice, also called as a Greek gift, that happens with the bishop on h7, guys, or bishop on h2 if you're with black. And you need like several things for that. Let me put up here. You need a bishop, you need a queen, and you need a knight for that. You need 3 ingredients to cook that. And you should be careful, black not to have square on f6 and on f8 under control by the knight. So let's say bishop takes, king takes, knight g5. If king goes back, this is a checkmate. Easy. This is the way how to checkmate. You take f7 pawn 2, or you can actually in this position you can just checkmate into moves. But if bishop is not on e7, you have to take on f7 pawn square as well. Anyway, king has to go on g6. This is the most challenging here. And after king to h6, g6, you have queen d3 or queen g4. I think queen g4 is here. Let's see what they are suggesting. King here. Oh, what happened? Ah, okay. After knight g5, bishop takes, pawn takes, king here, and the checkmate. So if not take, if king to g6, you can also go h5. Like a lot of moves here. A lot of moves.
Thanks for the follow.
And very least you can take the queen. So this is the Greek sacrifice, which, yeah, this game is very good demonstration. So e5 square takes f6 square under control. Let's see the other game and let's see if this one is working. So we go here, here, here. King g6 is the only challenging move here. Otherwise, black is simply cannot survive. And now h4. Like usually you want to win right away. h4 is a little bit slow. However, it threatens h5 next move. In the comment in the book it says that the best is queen g4 most of the time when king goes on g6. But h4 also makes a lot of sense. You want h5. Rook h8, h5 anyway, queen d3, f5 only move, e takes f6, king takes f6, queen f3, queen f7, and you just take the rook, and white wins. Yeah, queen g4 was better. I would recommend queen g4 instead, guys. Queen g4, you're threatening knight e6, f5, take, king should take, queen e6 checkmate. Sometimes there is this move after f5, knight f6, and here the move is Queen here or here? Queen here. And now this check, and probably g4 here. Pin the rook, and this is completely winning position. Some criteria, necessary conditions for the classical bishop sacrifice, and it so basically says that there should not be knight close to f6 and f8 square, and the bishop to f5 square. Another line? Yeah, here there's knight f6 and controls h7 square. So strong attack steal. Oh wow, this is actually good. This is actually good. This is actually good. Your brain heart rate. Pepper, by the way, this is one of the patterns which are so useful. That's why, guys, I'm showing this to you. I showed this to Carrot, and he has won a lot of games. Like, you can't imagine how many games he has won. And it's quite easy. It's quite easy to trick your opponent. Super easy. And you don't need much of the things. So if you have a bishop, knight and queen, which goes on h7, g5 and h5, that's it. And you need also to control that black has not knight moves, knight f6, knight f8 and bishop f5. If black has these pieces that are controlling the h7 square, it's not working, and don't go for it. And if you know that there is not enough defense from your opponent's side, it's so nice pattern. Your opponent has no chance to survive. Ask Carrot. You're just farming the free wins, basically. Yes. Yes. So in this game we have knight f6, but still white played, and this knight guards the h7 square, but still things are not so well for black. And here at this point, guys, it's so hard to play any move. You have pieces on the queen side, your king is quite alone, you have a plan, you want to play rook e3, rook h3 and checkmate on h8. So there are several ways how to try to avoid that, but nothing really works. Let's see bishop h7. Bishop c7, bishop e5 anyway. If you want to take knight, if bishop takes bishop, pawn takes e5 and knight is under attack. And that's it. That's it, you can't avoid anything. Let's see what happens after g6. What was that move? g6, queen h6. Why queen h6? Because knight h5 was a threat, and now after knight h5 you have bishop e5. Anyway. And there's a checkmate on h8. So after rook e8, this is the move you have to play here to try to trade some of the pieces. And white just plays bishop e5, threatens bishop f6 again. Let's say queen e7, rook e3, rook h3, and it's game over. Like, how can you avoid a checkmate? It's beautiful. I like this one. Let's go next and check it out. What happens? Is it possible to take here? Take here. And now in this case bishop goes on f5. Let's see if this is working. You guys, I promise you, if you manage to learn this pattern, well, you will win a lot of games. It really depends what's your opening. Like if you get very often the bishop on d3 and knight on f3, which myself I get in many openings, then you should always keep the eye on that. Most of the cases when I play with white, I develop my bishop on d3 because you never know. You never know what your opponent sees and what your opponent don't see. So let's see. King here. Queen e4. Ooh, fancy. Queen e4. I have not seen this move. Against bishop to f5. Wow, this is new. This is today I learned 2 new things actually. This is another news. And the other one was this checkmate. Queen G5 and then H5. I have not seen that. I thought at this point I have seen everything, but that was not true. Like for me, I have seen so many things, and you forget for sure. I don't remember everything that I learned. This one I have never seen, I have to admit. And the other checkmate pattern I have not seen too. The book is The Art of Attack. Very nice book, guys. For I think for all the level. Not the beginner for sure, not the beginner, because you need to know some of the basics. But for I think from 1400 already, you can start to read stuff like this. And of course, like maybe 1400 is even too late. Like you always need to read the books which teaches you something, so it should be a strong one. And myself, I'm also learning here some like I'm mostly remembering the things. Like I can say that I have seen some of the things that I have not seen it before, but most of the time I'm just I would not say intermediate pepper. I think it's you can start it from below then intermediate. Queen e4, I like this move. Best move. Queen h5 was not working because of bishop f5. Queen e4, avoiding bishop to f5. Black responds with f5, and now f5 is controlled, is already taken, so queen h4, rook to f7. Rook has to, like, if you don't play a move like that, queen h7 comes with a checkmate here, and oof. But I have seen this. I have seen this. Queen h8. Probably didn't remember how to reach the point. Very intermediate. Takes, and you are winning a rook and the game as well. So next one. This is the position, guys, that we have on chess.com of Greek gift. We recorded this video, this position, and the name of the video is how every sacrifice you need to know, or how to attack castle king. I think how to attack castle king. So the basically idea now is to take and knight g5, and there is no bishop to come on f5. There's no knight to go on f6, but there is knight to go on f8. And let's see what happens if knight goes on f8. We take now this pawn, and rook e3 and rook to h3 is the plan. Knight is hanging, but we are not worried about that. We still give a check. And rook on e8. Like it's disaster. Like look at black's pawn pieces on the back rank. This is a disaster. This is disaster. It's from French. I don't comment more. It's from French. When French goes wrong. As I remember, in this position, the most challenging was king to g6. We don't have a notes here, but guys, in this application, it's an ebook. Actually, you can just move the pieces by yourself. I can show you. I download this one in my tablet, as I told you guys. And this is the last one I was actually reading. So basically you have, I think you can change the color of the board, but it was fine for me to see this one. I even posted that on my Instagram, this very beautiful checkmate. And you have like divided the screen into parts. Here's always the chessboard, and you can move the pieces. And here is the part that you can read. Yeah, you can just scroll up or down and read the notes. And whenever new position appears, you just click here, and you just click here, click. Doesn't go, okay. It goes now. Then it's changed the upper position. So for the book, this is really luxury to have a board, chessboard, and in the book. For me, this is a luxury. And there is a normal text as well. You can just read it out here and make some notes. I have some of the notes. I saved it for you guys that I wanted to show you. And you can make any move, and it's just like a board. You can set up any type of position here, and it's just divided. Also, you can, like, sometimes those books, some of the books are really like old, and by that what I mean is, of course, it's like renew now and checked with the computer, but very often you feel like I'm not sure, I need to check with the computer, and you don't need to set up in ChessBase or chess.com. You have also engine running. I will just demonstrate here. I think this is the engine, yeah. So Stockfish says go for queen d3 now, and after f5 take, king takes, and queen f3, king here, queen f7, king here, and g4. Computer move. G4 is purely computer move. And after this one, give it check and checkmate. So you can also check with the engine. I like this one very much. The book, the name of the book is the Art of Attack. This one, the red one. Oh, sorry, the red one. Here. This one is, I think, for all the level. As I said, guys, not for beginners, because there's like too many information and your brain might got crowded. But you can learn checkmate patterns. You can learn this kind of bishop sacrifice and many more. The one with the Boris Gulker is also good, right? Another book. I think that was the first book that I suggested to Carrot to work with, is this book. So the idea of this book is that there is the conversation between Gulko and his student about several games and how I think I have seen first one. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Let me put up. It's just a game. G3, G6, Bishop G2, Bishop G7, D4, D6, E4 and E5. And from this point, it's move 4. It's a suspicious move, and there is a comment actually. And it's very interesting how Gulko was putting the student in a correct direction to find the proper move. How the way he was asking the question was very interesting. And when I was reading the comments, I was like, yeah, that's how I actually also think about. So basically you take here, it says that if you take with the bishop, you allow white to scroll down in the center, maybe right away f4, knight f3 and castle, or later on, but basically you want to have strong center and take with the pawn. Now queen takes, king takes, and usually we don't want to lose the right to castle, but queens are off the board and black might felt here safe. Let's do this one. The exercise, what's the best way for white to develop the initiative? So white has a small initiative. The the king has lost the right to castle. It's not a big deal, but for some players you can create something out of it. And this is the question. How can you increase the initiative? How can you develop your pieces? And it's not something that you will see here, crazy sacrifices and crazy attacks and so on. No way. No way, you will not see something like that. You're just learning how to think besides all these tactics, puzzles, and the sharp position. How just to learn to play chess. So how would you guys develop your pieces? Would you play knight c3, knight f3 castle, bishop e3 and stuff like this? Maybe bishop g5 to give a check, knight c3, bishop g5 and long castle. That's great actually. I think one of my first thoughts was bishop g5 to play f6 because f6 closed the bishop totally, and then knight c3 and castle. Sorry guys, I can't make the moves on the board because this is not a chess.com board or any other board. This is the application. And I cannot make the arrows, but yeah, okay, I can show you. This pawn, 2 pawns are blocking the bishop. We can go back, the knight here, let's say this, and castle, and it's just very bad position. Or on the other hand, you can also start with knight c3 at the beginning and wait what black plays here. Black will not play f6 for sure, because it's like weird looking, probably knight e7 or c6, bishop g5, castles, and we kind of have a similar position, which looks fine to me. Then we have to take care about the king side and so on and so on. Yeah, that's the answer. That's all of us response, right? So let me read. This seems completely equal. This position, this is completely equal. This position is nearly symmetrical. It's actually true. It's completely symmetrical with the pawn structure. Both sides have same material in terms of minor pieces. Both have restricted bishop on the long diagonal. Restricted means that those pawns on e5 blocks the bishop on g7 and pawn on e4 blocks the bishop on g2. They both wish not to have those pawns and have open bishop. Both sides are underdeveloped, that's true. The only difference is that white can steal castle and he will be able to connect his rooks quicker. This is temporary advantage that needs to be used quickly. This is a very good message, actually, it's true. And this is the answer from the student. Therefore, I would look for ways of developing my queen side and castle long. That's what we said. And now his answer. Your thoughts are generally correct, but too general. And this is the word I did not like when I read this part. But it's true. Here is important to find a concentrated way. When you have position with an advantage in time, you have to find an object to attack. So if we don't attack something, if we don't define the weakness of the opponent will improve the position. The move b2, b3 is very difficult to see. Like, who would develop this bishop on b2? And also, guys, when you fianchetto your bishop g3, bishop g2, or b3, bishop b2, you're losing one move. We're losing one tempo. That's something that you need to know when you're fianchetto your bishop. And it's like really far from the logic to do stuff like that. However, but for me it was easy to find because of the classic game between Galler and Lerner, which happened in 1979. In a similar position, Galler played b3 and developed the initiative by attacking e5 pawn. And we have the game. So we're gonna take a look at that game. It started from a different opening, but we finally got the similar position, but knight is on f6 and knight is on c3. So now knight f3 attacking the e5 pawn, knight e7 guarding the pawn, and b3 strong move. f5 is a good suggestion. We're gonna take a look of that. It's AD's move. AD would be so happy. AD would be so happy to see b3. Okay, so b3 has been played, and when you're making moves like that, your opponent thinks like, okay, he wants to play bishop b2, and then he moves the knight away, and I have some problems on e5 pawn, and then all the problems starting. He played knight to e8. I don't think this is the most accurate way, but he wanted to guard with f6 pawn. He wanted to guard with the pawn, which makes a lot of sense. White castles on the long side, and now guys, this is exactly the position we were looking at, but we had the bishop on e3. Now the bishop is on b2. So let's see what's the difference. c6 is a logical move to get the king on c7, knight e1, knight d3, just some maneuvering here, and f4. So f4 is stronger when bishop is on b2 for sure, because this is a diagonal that we need to take control on under our hands. So knight f7, trying to control e5 square, rook to f1. Why rook to f1? Because white knows that white will open up the f file. It can be maybe fully open, f takes c, f takes c, or it can be semi-open, f takes c, and then knight takes e5. Anyway, we need this rook here. So it takes f4, and this move actually gives white the center. So you already changed something and give up your center. Rook to e8, rook to d1, d2 e1, knight f8. You also need to develop your queenside pieces, so knight f8 to open up the light square bishop. Knight d1, keep the eye on f6, and you want to do knight e3 and knight g4 already, or knight e3 f5 and then knight to g4. Here, king goes on b1, knight e3, e5, e5 getting more space advantage, and here we have the rook already on the open file, and we have very strong pawn on e5. Knight here, bishop on h3. Bishop before was not doing too much on this diagonal, so now after bishop h3, you're creating a threat, like to take a knight d6. Here, knight d6 right away. Wait, if you take, I take with a check. There should be some sort of tactics. Bishop a3. Bishop a3, if you play c5, I can simply take and take on c5 with a bishop or with a knight. Equally good. I think with knight is even stronger because bishop is hanging and you're threatening knight b7. So things are getting ugly now. Knight d4, bishop takes d4, knight takes d4, rook to f7, rook on the 7th rank, pinning the bishop on d7, threatening e6 at some point, bishop f8, knight c5. Ew, so bad. That's so bad. And white already won here the material. I think rook d1 actually end the game. Yeah, so this was the game that Golko remembered, and that's why he played b3 in this position to transpose. So our idea is to play bishop on b2 and then to play f4. I would never think of this in like 10 lives that I have to develop my bishop on b2, to be honest. So, okay, let's continue. There is a question of f5 in the chat. I want to answer right away. Or here's the thing, I would never play f5 in this position because still there is the bishop g5 check that I don't know what's happening, and I don't want to play with the pawns too much because this creates a hanging pawns. Do I want this? Maybe yes, maybe not. Another thing is that I will just ignore this and I will just develop my bishop, or I can develop my knight here, and if you take, I'll take with my knight. Then I will do the same thing. And what you have achieved with f5 move is the weakness on e5. That's my point. Even if you don't take, even if you just continue to play, what you have created is the weakness on e5, because now it's hanging. You might ask, like, okay, I will not play like that. I will play knight to e7 now, because after this one, nothing is hanging. Sure, you can do stuff like that, but you can still... You are not avoiding the threat. The threat is f4 to create the pin, and with f5, you are bringing more tension in the center, which is good for white, because white has more active pieces, and white is developing way faster than black. So with moves like f5, we should be a bit careful, because when you push it 2 squares, it will never come back on f6. And maybe we want to have f6 move here, like to play f6 and try to trade bishop h6 or stuff like that. Okay, let's get back to normal things. Bishop to e6, there is also the comment about knight to c6. It says that knight c6 is way stronger, because after bishop to b2, knight can go on d4. And now we're kind of changing the tempo of the game, because now I'm creating the weaknesses. I'm taking the weaknesses. If you take, you give me a dark square bishop, you give me the perfect advantage in the end, perfect advantage of bishop in the end game. That's very tough. For me, what I have learned, guys, the bishop pair advantage in the end game is stronger than in the middle game. Because in the middle game, we have a lot of pieces. Sometimes I'm getting a chance to trade your bishop with my knight. But in the end game, that's not very possible. So we're not giving up the bishop, as queens are already off the board. We have to play knight a3 only move to avoid the fork. And now knight to e7. We castle, bishop to d7 to make sure there's no check. And f4. Still, white is good, but there is different position now with the knight on d4. Stops white's knight to get on e2. if white gets on knight f3, we might trade and so on and so on. I still don't like this position for black for sure. But the difference is the knight is on a3 and the other position, knight was close to the center. Okay, bishop e6. Let's go here. Bishop e2, knight e7, knight to d2, knight e7. And another exercise. Asking the question, guys, and then we see the answer together. The question is, what is the best way to proceed? Difficulty level 2. I don't know what exactly level 2 means. If Carrot is here, maybe he remembers it. Okay, this is currently the position. And the question is how we're proceeding from here. Second is middle difficult. 1 is easiest and 3rd is hardest. Let's see then b3. Difficult level 5. What the hell is 5, Carrot, then? Guys, it says on b3. On b3. It says difficult level 5. Whoa, that's too much. I don't know what's your answer, guys, here, but my answer is to castle on the long side, to continue this. Same thing. To play f4, to play knight f3, to press on e5. Connect the rooks, rook f1, as we have seen in the previous game. And the thing is, guys, what Jim Solver just said, like positional game, very often all of us like tactical games and sharp games. But things like this, you can't imagine when you're analyzing how many things you are learning with that. I think Carrot would agree with me. Because it's quite risky to, like, if you don't know exactly what level, I think you have to have some level to read this book out and understand all these things. Otherwise, you will just get scared. Like, they think, like, first question, I can't find b3 also at this point. When I started to look at this, I couldn't find it. But you should not scared out of that, because you are learning so much from here, and you are, like, feeling the chess, like, you understand chess better. Bishop g7 is not protected, but f4 doesn't seem to work. Maybe knight f3 to stop knight b6. Knight b6 is quite limited, though. Knight b6 maybe a5, a4 with these ideas. Okay. It makes a lot of sense, because when I mentioned this one, hold on, we have to work it out. Like knight here, king here. Yeah, I don't like this. No, I don't like bishop a3. Okay, I'm still keeping this idea of f4 and knight f3 castle, rook to f1. Let's see the answer, guys. Yeah, I agree with that, Carrot. It's really hard for me to define the levels for the chess books, and I'm always like so jealous of the people who can. Like, what level of the players should read this, because some of the players can read the books which are like very hard to understand. You just need to focus on that. That's it, basically. You are learning new things. Okay, let's see the answer. So the student says, White's advantage is temporary. He needs to find ways to speed up his development and cannot allow Black time to untangle himself. White has a bad bishop, as does Black. And bad bishops are g2 and g7 because, as we said, the pawns are blocking. Black's good bishop, which prevents White from using c4 square with his knight. So Black has e6 bishop and knight c4 is stopped. It is active and well placed. Therefore, bishop h3 completes many objectives. Like to trade the bishop h3, you have bad bishop and you're trading your opponent's good piece. So this is another topic in chess, very important topic to because if there is no tactic at all and you play the opening where your opponent didn't blunder some tactic, then you have to play chess. And basically you are learning chess here with these books, guys. You need to trade your bad piece to your opponent's good piece, and your bad bishop is g2 and your opponent's good bishop is on e6. So now I'm changing my plans and I like bishop h3 even more than f4. It speeds up white's development because bishop h3 seems forced move. Otherwise, I will take, like, if you move anything, I will take the bishop, and you have double pawns, and double pawns are easier to attack in the end game. So this is a forced move to take here. Knight will take. Yeah, he's talking about the double pawns. And you are getting, it gets rid of the move bishop h3, A gets rid of black's good bishop, B allows white to use c4 square for the knight. Now knight can go on c4 square. And C rids himself of his own bad light square bishop. So there's 3 points why bishop h3 is a good move. Boris says, very good. This move gives white permanent advantage and get rid of the bad bishop and exchange good bishop. So bishop h3 is the move, guys, here, which is, as I said, difficult to find. Myself, I have not found it, so it's okay if you guys have not too. I found this move only because I noticed that he can't really avoid exchange. Yeah, it's basically a forcing move, and forcing moves in chess wins big time. So takes. We take here f6 to stop knight g5, castle, king to e8. Wait, this game is Rajabov's. It is Gulko against Rajabov. So f4 has been played. When you have advantage in time means development, you have to create more tension and make the position more sharp, more dynamic, which itself the position has no dynamic character, and you have to make it. Kasparov says there are 3 kind of advantages: time, position, and material. In this position, I have time advantage. And by time advantage, guys, they did not mean time on the clock that we were talking about. They meant the development, that's the time. Knight to c6, knight to c4, and knight to b6. Knight b6 was a suggestion earlier in the chat. You guys somehow guessed it. Next question, next exercise. What does white have to do here? Difficulty level 1. Earlier we were talking about dynamics and to create some kind of tension on the board. Let me put it in this way, guys. We have two styles of playing chess, tactical and positional. When I grew up, when I was learning chess, there were 2 types of people. Like Petroshin was a positional player, which actually, by the way, he is one of the strongest tactician. Like his games are fully about tactics, but he's preparing this positionally playing and then blows up the board. And I was always thinking, like, how come he's not a tactical player? And then Kasparov was a sharp player, tactical player. And then Karpov was a positional player, which Karpov himself, like, he says, I love tactics and I love sharp games. So there was always a discussion about that. And these days, there's a new term. I think like new generation brought this new term. Like, for instance, Carlsen. If you ask what's your style, he will just, I think he will think a lot about that. He plays equally well both styles. And it goes with all the players, guys. For instance, Anish Giri, you would say like he's a positional player, but his tactical understanding and the level is really, really high. So maybe you have, like, it's not 50-50, you have like 60-40, or in many cases, it's even 50-50. It really depends on the opening and what kind of pawn structure you have. But this now is not so actual question anymore, what kind of style you have, because like people are more balanced and have universal style, which is really good to be strong in both ways. When you are starting to play chess, it happened to me. Also, I'm working with everyone. If I have a student, I'm working in this way, that you are starting with tactics, because it gives you the wins. That's how you're winning the games. And then you need this kind of level, like you need this kind of understanding of chess when you are already increasing your level and you are understanding chess better. Like when you know what is your bad piece and you don't need to, as we said there, bishop g2 was a bad piece. You don't need to ask the second question why this bishop is bad bishop. So you already know and you have some understanding. And then when you are like, I think this is the level up for when you are starting playing chess. For the beginners, when you already feel like you are improving, this is the level up. I think this is here, something connected with rook d5. Probably. Let's see. Or knight here and knight here. Or knight here and knight here. Or knight here and knight here. There are many ideas. Let's see the answer. Black has just played knight b6, and if white does nothing, then black will obviously play knight c4. What is cripple? I don't know what is cripple, but okay. White can either take or retreat the knight on b6, or retreat knight on b6, maybe on less than ideal square. If knight b6, a takes b6, then white has to spend a tempo to protect the pawn. Yes, I saw this pawn, I still made rook to d5, but a2 pawn is something that you can't ignore. Otherwise, he would double the rooks on d file. Yeah, but you're losing this tempo here. Here, white says that knight e3 is my call. The coach says, correct, it's preferable to play knight e3. Here, rook d8, knight d3, and knight d7 to control d5 square. But black already played knight b6. And now let's see the answer. Knight d3 is a correct answer. So basically this works the same way. Like Pepper, when you said that you always like to trade your bad pieces for the good pieces, here's the thing. This knight on b6 is a bad knight. Bad knight. It has like a4 square, c4 square, d5 square. Those squares are controlled. c8 and d7 squares are not roomy squares. And you have the knight, which has d5 and g4 and sometimes f5. Very, very strong square. So you're not actually trading your good piece. Bishop h6, it's something that we might consider, but there's knight on h3 so far, and it doesn't create a threat so far. Okay, so this happened in the game. My knight is heading to d5. Rook to d8, knight d5 anyway. Knight d5, pawn takes d5, knight e7. Knight b4 was a bad move because this one, and you have a beautiful chain. King goes on b1, knight b4, f takes, and knight g5. This knight is going on e6, and that's it, guys. So knight e7. White plays c4 to guard the pawn on d5, c6, f takes e, f takes e. And now we have another question. This is difficult level 2. It's not so hard. We can answer it correctly. How can white develop the initiative? I would suggest knight to f4 here, because the pawn is pinned and you are going to e6 square. What do you guys think? Do you have any other ideas, or you like it? You can also try maybe d6 move. d6, c5, or rook to e8. Oh, maybe rook to e1, actually. So knight f4, bishop h6, and we just take the pawn and attack the rook. There's also d6 to attack the knight, and c5. This is also good looking. b6, and we can just guard everything. Also good looking. I like this one more. Let's see here. Here. Takes. Here, 97. We're trading way too many pieces, guys. Maybe this is not enough. Like, if we have somehow knight d5 here and win the knight, it's good. But we are not on time. King f7. So let's get back here. Let's see the answer. White has a queenside pawn majority and better pawn structure in general, as black has an isolated pawn on e5. White has, what I like about these comments, guys, is that time to time it gives you the evaluation of the positions by the words, which is so important to give the evaluation of the position. You need to know, you need to remind yourself what is the current situation. White has the better bishop, as black's bishop on g7 is tied to the defense on e5 pawn. The knights for both white and black seems to be on the less than ideal squares. That's true. White's rooks are connected, therefore white has the advantage. Black is threatening the win d5 pawn, so white needs either to take or push. If d takes c, knight takes c6, then black has improved the position of the knight, which protects e5 pawn, potentially freeing up the bishop. So bishop h6 can be the next move. And controls some important central squares. That's d4 square. In case it could go to d4. Knight to d4. Well, in case if black's knight would be better than white's knight on h3, in this case, knight d4 will be better than the knight h3. Okay, we got it. D takes c6 we did not even consider. So then what's the next? d6. Therefore, d6 should be played. Although white would like to improve the position of knight, knight g5 runs into bishop to h6, which is not what white wants. But how about knight f4? Yes, knight f4. So the comment, after d6, knight f5, c5, king to d7, black has enough pieces to defend e5 pawn, and the position has become closed. And my advantage has been evaporated. So king blocks the pawn, and it's still worse position in my opinion. Black still has some worries here, but not so tough anymore. Like knight d4 will change so many things. Okay, so knight f4, we got it right. Okay, in this position, the student says that, but you have pawn on d6, it's only 6th rank and it's well protected. Yes, but it's well blockaded and there is no obvious way to break through. I hope you guys liked it and I hope you will go through by yourself. This is just one game and there are tons of really good stuff here. My high recommendation here, this book is not a book that you are learning theory or something. This is some kind of conversation you can have to yourself or to your coach. If you don't have a coach, try to look at this one, and it will give you it will force you to think. You will put the things down. Maybe not at the first try with first exercise, but when you read the comments, how other people are putting things down, then you want to do the same. So it's really good process to also learn. And as I know, guys, there is 2 more editions, or maybe 1 more edition, because everybody loved this book. And this book is one of the I think fast-selling book everywhere. So my recommendation on this one is, as Carrot said, it's so difficult for me to define the level of the players who had to read. I think everyone should read this one, and the other one on the other side, The Art of Attack in Chess. I think it's like must read. I'm not talking about the other books. I think those books are more tough. Another my favorite is Chess Tactics of Dvoretsky, Chess Test of Dvoretsky, and this is something. The others I have not looked through yet so deeply. So my recommendations to this one, guys. And another thing is that this is something that I'm also using myself, because basically I love to read books, but I'm not a very fast reader. I cannot read books very fast. And it's also very uncomfortable for me to read the book where I don't have a chessboard, and I can't take chessboard when I'm traveling. And even if I'm at home, what we analyzed here on the digital board and took us really long time, it takes double time on the actual board to set the pieces up, move the pieces, then come back and set up again, and so on and so on. So it takes a lot of time. And I think in one day I can analyze 2, maximum 3 games deeply. I think 2, 3 games. And then I'm getting tired. I'm not going back in the second day. What I like about this application, as I told you guys, I have it on my tablet and I have a chessboard here on small part here. So whatever I don't see, I'm reading first, and if I don't see the position, if I don't know where is this knight f4, because in my mind there is no knight on a4, I'm putting up the position. If I have a question like why knight f4, why I don't play this move, then I can start the engine as well to answer the question. So a really high recommendation for me, guys, to this platform. I really love it. It's internet book. You can have it on your phone or tablets, or even in the computer if it's comfortable for you. Sometimes it's comfortable to have it on the big screen. And those are like, so far, those are my 2 recommendations, those 2 books, guys. And we have seen those 2 books. The other books we need to go through. So my recommendation for now for everyone, despite the level of the rating or the chess, is The Art of the Chess, the first one, red one, and the Grandmaster, the last one, on the top. Those are my recommendations. And guys, I also put the in the title, I'll also put the code. So with that code, you will get 20% off from these books. I think the average cost of the book is like $20 to $35. It depends. Like some of these books are really really cheap. Some of them are like $30, and you have it as long as you want to have it. And you can also have the discount for that. So make sure that you use this code, which is Keti20. Yeah, let me know if you enjoy reading those books.